and welcome to the debate. I'm your host Maqbool with you at Ptv World. In today's show, we're going to be taking a look at the developing situation between India and Pakistan, particularly with reports coming in of the GMOs, of course, speaking with each other and also with agreement reached in terms of pulling away from the borders, moving away the troops as part of the second phase of the ceasefire. And this is something that has to be completed by the 30th of May. And so these are important developments given how we've seen aggressive posturing and rhetoric coming in outside from India in particular, with a lot of warmongering and hate also coming in from Indian media. And this is also integral in the ways that the ceasefire has to be successful without any threat of a conflict looming. And so also important in terms of the practical demonstrations, of course, at the border with the ways that these tangible actions are going to take place. But at the same time, equally important in terms of the message that it sends out and the way that it gives peace to both the nations. And then, of course, in terms of the way that the geopolitical stance is going to be reflected and the ways in which Pakistan's victory is going to be understood even better and more credibility attached to the country. What needs to be done with that regard? We know that a high-level delegation is being sent to different world capitals, which is going to be putting forward this stance. At the same time, of course, Pakistan's positioning regarding the IWT, regarding Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and regarding Indian involvement in state-sponsored terrorism is very, very important when we move forward with the UNSC in particular, and of course the international community in general and our partners to work out the ways that regional peace and stability can actually be ensured, and that the way that the security borderlines are drawn within South Asia, of course, needs to be also reflected in the way that the countries are interacting with each other. That is going to be our focus in the debate today. For this and more, as always in the news, I've been joined by senior analyst Farrukh Pitafi and Raja Faisal, and we've also been joined online by Brigadier Retired Mr. Nawaz, who's going to be joining the discussion very soon. But before we move ahead, of course, with full details of what is being reflected in terms of the current ceasefire positions from Brigadier Saab Faisal, I want your take in terms of when we take a look at what was there at the early stages of the Pahalgam attack and the aftermath of that, and then, of course, in the way that the Indian aggression unfolded, Pakistan's retaliatory response unfolded, and now moving forward to the second phase of the ceasefire where troops are also pulling back. How do you see this entire trajectory of affairs and in the ways that in different positions and in different milestones Pakistan has come out strong?
Yes, Anna, very tragic for India if I see it. And why? Since the day one, of course, that was a tragic event. Pahalgam attack, we have condemned it. Pakistan as a state condemned it, and everyone, even in our show, we have been condemning it again and again because there were civilian deaths in it. And of course, when it is about the civilians, we always do, and we always expected from India and Indian media as well, that India as a state and Indian media to, of course, condemn whatever is happening in Pakistan. Of course, they would never do it because that is their investment, that is their financing, which obviously results in terrorism in Pakistan. So when Jafar Express took place, of course, we expected that India would be, as a state, would be condemning it, and Indian media would be condemning it as well. But overall, if we check their special transmissions about it, they were claiming that somehow Balochistan is going to be taken out of hands of Pakistan, and they were having a smear campaign going against Pakistan. Pahalgam attack, after that, of course, Pakistan expected India to probe it and to investigate it, but rather than investigations, they started a blame game on their Indian media, and they started saying that Pakistan is the country that is actually doing it in India and Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, where it wasn't the case at all. And if we check what they did after that, Pakistan was expecting that they would take this matter to United Nations Security Council. Why? Because Pakistan knew that our hands are clean, and if United Nations Security Council is involved and the Western countries are involved and the power hubs of the world, they are involved, like China, like Russia, like UK, France and US, of course they will be demanding a probe into it. not advising India to go against Pakistan, whereas of course India didn't go at that time, and India didn't take anyone in the confidence, and they kept on saying that they are of course coming towards Pakistan and avenge whatever they thought that of course Pakistan was involved in it. And then later on Pakistan said that we are ready to face any warmongering which India is playing the games with us, and if there is any step taken by India towards Pakistan to of course violate the sovereignty of Pakistan and territorial integrity of Pakistan, of course the befitting reply will be given to them, which was done as accordingly, and of course it was a promise. Pakistan delivered absolutely brilliantly, and that is why we are seeing that the Chief of the Army Staff, General Asim Munir, he has been today made Field Marshal, and he is the second Field Marshal of Pakistan, and rightly so, because this was a war which Pakistan won, and it's not only Pakistan that is claiming it. Of course, if you go through the Western media, if you go through Western powers, everyone has endorsed it. Everyone believes that it was in the modern warfare. Of course, we are not expecting that the war would be prolonged war between two nuclear neighbors, and that is why this kind of war, it was a full-fledged war, and this full-fledged war we have seen that it was a battle of nerves as well, and the battle of nerves straight away was won by Pakistan's generals, and especially obviously Field Marshal Asim Munir. And if we obviously talk about what India is doing right now, well, Sana, I was going through a few of the videos, and they were blaming that Pakistan couldn't have done that. Pakistan had the support of China because China gave them J-10C, and China gave them PL-15, and China actually helped them create JF-17s, and that's why China was behind it. Well, my reply to India is, it means that India wasn't waging a war against Pakistan single-handedly, as they have Rafale from France, so France was their associate, as Israel gave them Heron, and of course Israel was behind it as well, Herop. And as Americans were giving them Chinooks and Apaches and Predators, then people should be considering that, oh, America was on their side as well. So this is a very stupid way of India to put the things on the table, saying that, blaming that of course China was associated with Pakistan, and we haven't won a war against just Pakistan, but we have won against China as well. This kind of narratives they are of course propagating on their Indian channels. By the way, forget us. I mean, we have never taken their Indian media seriously, but now even the Western countries, they don't take them seriously at all. Reason being, they have simply said that it is full of lies and full of smear campaign. And now, I mean, we have been highlighting this Srivastava group since a long time. Westerners, EU Disinfo Lab, they have been shouting out loud since a long time that there are more than 700 fake portals, fake news portals that are being run by the Srivastava group sitting in Noida next to New Delhi, and Srivastava group is the one that actually feeds news to ANI. ANI considered as one of the mightiest when it comes to news agencies, one of the mightiest and the top news agency from India, and what kind of news it is giving to other news channels. I mean, world has seen the display of fakery and display of fake news which have been going on from the Indian side. And now when they are coming up with these kind of narratives, I mean, all we can do is just laugh over it, because it's a laughing material.
Absolutely. Let us also welcome in the discussion Brigadier Haris Nawaz, who's joined us online. Thank you very much, Brigadier Sahab, for being part of the discussion. And I also want your, in terms of when we talk about Pakistan's stance, and of course the victorious and triumphant way that we have emerged out of this, it is important, of course, to understand that when we talk about the ceasefire, it's also important to retain it, to sustain it, and to move forward with credibility, and to see what sort of developing and evolving situation can exist between India and Pakistan. And Pakistan, of course, has always preferred peace, has always spoken about dialogue. But I want your take on what that means when we take a look at the current situation and the troops are pulling out at the 30th of May and moving back. Is there more potential for development in the region?
Sana, the point is Pakistan, I think, is strictly following the ceasefire the way it was enforced on 10th of May. And till today, three, four times the GMOs of both countries have spoken and saying it. And on 30th, I think, ensured that they want to now withdraw the troops also from the forward areas. They want to take them back to the original position. So that speaks that both are agreed. But the problem is with the Indians that they have lost miserably and they have created a war hysteria. They have brought to the people of India to a level that Pakistan is just like Palestine and India is Israel, and within few hours they will go and capture Lahore. They will go, and they had already captured the Lahore port. They destroyed. They have gone to quotas, it was under their control, and so on and so forth. The point is that they are highly disappointed. And now what can they sell to their people? The only they can read that there is a continuation of Sandur. We will not accept ceasefire. Why Trump has done it and why this has happened. The problem is this is what Indians are on the problems they are facing. Issue is Pakistan stature after this war has gone sky high. It's not only military stature, but the people of Pakistan as a whole has gone high. And Indian government and military, I don't say Indian people, their stature has gone right sunk into the sea. This is the problem they're facing, and that's why they feel so embarrassed. Every time they say, okay, we are continuing CISR, but when we talk DGMOs, they decided to pull back the troops to the original position on 30th of May. So that is the position. But otherwise, let me assure you, we have taken all punitive action, all punitive precautions, and phase two, that is continuity two, is totally ready. The moment Indians do any misadventures, it will be more volatile, it will be more really tough, and rest assured, it is going to hit them very badly, economically and military pressure. That is what is now is happening. I'm telling you the latest situation. But problem is they are not digesting Pakistan's Yawm Tashakkar, Marka Haq, everything. And then now when Chief Prime Minister Janasmi has got his rank of Field Marshal, and now there is a really big problem. They are all weeping, they're howling, shouting, why this has happened. And the problem is this is creating another setback to the Indian military, Indian government, and particularly for people of this Akhand Bharat. So I think now the whole country is united. There is no political difference, and we have a one aim under the one umbrella, and that is the form of that the nation is standing, and they are all ready to take everything for sovereignty of Pakistan. This all credit goes to the Farm Stuff. I think he has done a lot of wonders in nation building. You talk about revival of economy, you go for SIFC, in that you have a measure technology. You talk about the minor minerals, you talk about grain industry of Pakistan, and then you're holding a minor mineral investment conference, then you're overseas, which are the most Indians. They have a lot of trouble. Those all things are multiplied. But let me tell you, he has done something extra for nation building. He's inspiring leadership, inspiring command, then his professional attitude, his planning, execution, and then ending the war, along with the the morale of troops, command inspiration, that became the force multiplier. And that is how he has earned his field marshal rank. That is, I must tell you, honestly, this is written in the golden word, and the way he has come up, brought the nation together, improved the image in the world, that I think Pakistan is now proved, and the world has recognized Pakistan as the most mature, responsible nuclear country with professional battle-hardened army. Everybody is recognized, which has never happened. And then, of course, the Kashmir issue has been internationalized. We are always saying that Kashmir is a nuclear flashpoint. From attitude has changed, the world attitude has changed, and I think I'd give a lot of credit to, of course, the government of Pakistan and to the Chief of Staff, along with the air.
Absolutely, and that is of course important. And Farrukh, I also want your take on that because this is an important decision that the government of course has taken with the Chief of Army Staff being made the Field Marshal, and of course the impact or credibility that also that adds to the situation. We know of course the way that this is being looked at and perceived, and the effect that it will have within Pakistan, but also outside of Pakistan. What sort of difference will this make, as Brigadier Saab was saying, that the army is being recognized on a different level? What sort of difference will that make in terms of how countries actually are dealing with the Chief of Army Staff, with the army, with the military and civil leadership, and then of course in terms of defense cooperation possibilities also?
Right, Sana, thank you very much. I think that this was a transformational moment when Pakistan actually showed the world what kind of bully and coward India is, right? So I think that the army chiefs, this new rank is most well deserved. Faisal was actually talking about, General Ayub earlier. There's a difference. At that time, General Ayub, Pakistan was in its formative phase, and at that time, General, Ayub was actually given the post by himself by virtue of actually holding two positions simultaneously, army chief and also presidency. I don't think that that counts in this way. Here is a clear, sign what this position is meant for. This position is an acknowledgement of winning a war. And I think that anybody who has eyes can see what kind of damage was inflicted and what kind of pushback, India received. And I think that there was a clear, signaling that proved that Pakistan has superior capacity when it comes to its men, when it comes to its strategy and planning, right? I must also congratulate Air Chief Marshal because his term was ending. He has also been asked to continue beyond that. And I think that it is also recognition of two heroes who have done amazingly for this country. And I think that while I congratulate, Field Marshal Asim Munir and also General Babar, let me also, ACM Babar, let me ask them, where's the mithai? Let it be an iconic moment. Now regarding overall situation and the force projection outside the world, just look at the shares of Dassault. Just look at the shares of companies that have actually provided weaponry to Pakistan. Unfortunately, when Faisal was talking about Indian media and how it has become a laughing stock, so much so that in the past it was called Godi media, and now they have actually coined another term because they are mostly based in a place called Noida. Now they are being called Lashkar-e-Noida. So Lashkar-e-Noida keeps on attacking the Indian interest, and I think that will continue. But I'm not concerned about that, Sana. Unfortunately, I pointed to a very serious issue before this whole thing began. And at that time, I pointed out that India has actually built up this heft and influence without capacity to bend truth internationally. For example, I gave you an example of something very serious that happened, in 2019, when after 3 months of that attack, fateful attack for India, Indian Prime Minister came out and said that he had advised his air chief to, use the cloud cover to evade radars. And after that, unfortunately, I saw in the Western universities research papers being written on how the cloud cover can be used to evade radar detection, which is absurd. These guys have done it again. If you see the New York Times, of course, the number one newspaper in the world, the paper of record, and they actually came out with this story a couple of days after the ceasefire, that while India and Pakistan keep on boasting about their success, what is the reality? And they showed satellite maps. They showed Pakistan's satellite maps immediately after the attack. right? But when it came to Udhampur, they have, and this has been now reported by BBC, that they actually waited for 2 days until India had actually covered all the holes and craters, and after that they used the satellite image. Otherwise, Google Maps and other satellites, Maxar or whatever, they can show you what kind of damage and craters were done there, right? If this is the case, remember that because of this Huntington propaganda, that civilization is defined by religions, and that's why there are many civilizations which keep on fighting. The actual civilization, Sana, is the identifying factor, and that is the level of human intellectual evolution, right? This is the very definition. And whatever India is doing, because it is a bully and a coward, it keeps on bending truths, and facts become fiction and fiction become facts. So because of that, there is a direct threat to civilization, and there lies our efforts of standing up to a bully. Three, Pakistan seems to be the bulwark of civilization, whether you accept it or not. Pakistan played a huge role in turning the tide of Cold War, right? Whether you like it or not. Then Pakistan played a huge role in turning the tide of global war and terror. And now the bully that unfortunately West somehow decided and went and sat in India's lap. They did not realize that India under Modi was the biggest threat to civilization. And that has continued until now, until we have called out that emperor has no clothes. Because of that, whether the Western civilization, not Western civilization, Western democracy, whether it will survive or not, I don't know. But these guys have continuously fed into far right, emergence of far right elements all over the West. So with that kind of hostility and negativity coming from India, and you have seen their pettiness, you have seen their inability to digest any kind of drubbing. They keep on reducing everything to elementals. For example, if Pakistan actually gave them drubbing, it is because of PL-15, it is not because of the pilots, right? And they keep on then changing the story as well. Their story changes. Why should newspapers like New York Times or Economist or Foreign Policy, who have now been hacked, why should they be allowed to change the history? So Pakistan Army has already shown that what it is capable of. Pakistan as a nation has shown the world what we are capable of. That's why the entire world celebrated. But then it all comes back to being a bulwark of civilization.
Absolutely. Brigadier Saab, this is important because while we talk about what is happening now and in the immediate aftermath of the Indian aggression, and then of course the ceasefire and what is happening right now, I get the momentum that is currently existing. But I want your take in terms of the kind of notions that we have seen so ingrained into India's bilateral and multilateral relationships and the way that it's looked at regionally or internationally. Is that fundamentally going to change also, or do you think that the world can forget this over time?
I think world has understood India this time. This is the first time India is really isolated regionally and internationally. Nobody has supported less Israel. And that is, I think, big success for Pakistan, because Pakistan narrative was taken by everyone, because we were just, first, we do condolence to the family. We showed solidarity with the victims. And then we asked, please have independent inquiry from any country or any organization, independent. And then let us know, and we'll take certain definitely action if the prosecution evidence is available. Now, whatever India does, what can they say that Pakistan is involved? If their foreign minister still the inquiry is on, if the inquiry is still on, then how can you prematurely blame Pakistan for doing something and go and attack a sovereign nuclear neighboring country? You cross the line of control, you cross international borders, then you start firing missiles and 84 drones. And Pakistan, this is what informed the world that we are very mature, responsible, and we showed a lot of restraint. Otherwise, we should have gone early. When we were really firm that really India is violating every Article 51 of Geneva Convention, then we went for attack. And nobody in the world said Pakistan is wrong. Now Pakistan's stature is gone very high. We are sending a delegation internationally to explain Pakistan's point of view, to take Pakistan dossier, what India has been doing with Jafar Express, how they were in communication, live coverage they were having from terrorists through Afghan Kabul embassy, and their media was showing everything. And Saran, let me tell you, this time I must give a lot of credit to our media and social media. They have beaten Indian media in all. The way they were talking nonsense and the way we were giving facts and figures, it is tremendous. We have really won the day. Along with this, now when the media is going and we tell them what India is doing in Pakistan, now India will think 10 times before doing any terrorism and supporting terrorism through BLA and BLF in Pakistan, supporting KTP through Kabul Embassy RAW, through KPK in Pakistan, and also leveling all the allegations of this false flag operation and blaming Pakistan because now they have opened the gate. Without blaming Pakistan, without any proof, they came to Pakistan crossing border. We have all the right now to go to Kabul on Indian side, Indian installations, or we go to the Indian side. That we have all the right now, and we must inform when the delegation is going. And India knows it. Now we are on a very strong wicket. We negotiate on a strong wicket, and we are high. Tests are high, and Indians are really down. That's what I'm saying. That's why India is doing all the time. We are attacking. This ceasefire is still on. We can do anything. They can do nothing. We know it. And if they do once, believe me, we are going to hit India economically so much and militarily so much, and they will break their back. This is what is the actual situation I'm telling you. General Assembly has not, he has not been given a reward like this. He has earned this reward of Field Marshal. That's why I'm saying he has done tremendous job. We are lucky to have him, and I feel that we should pray that he serves very long and brings the nation together. And Pakistan has all economically, internationally, all we have carried out of prosperity.
Right, absolutely. Thank you very much, Brigadier Harris, for joining us and being a part of the discussion. Faisal, I'll come to you with reference to, of course, we're looking at the impact that creates and that leadership that allows for this victory to exist. And I want your comments on that too, but add to that the way that we have also seen a unified stance. And I understand this is something important and perhaps quite natural in front of a common enemy. But in terms of sustaining that, both in terms of different political elements in the country and also in terms of the nation and its leadership, it's important to have that sort of united stance forward as we move ahead in making Pakistan an important player in the international community. So I want your take on what approaches or necessary steps need to be taken to ensure that we indeed move forward with that much needed consensus or unity that we keep referring to in our earlier discussions.
Yes, Sana, first of all, obviously, I'll highlight the last bit first. Our economy, of course, it needs to be boosted, and I think by now, as we have a very positive image throughout the world right now at this hour, reason being we are in a humble posture right now, and world likes it. World is loving it. Reason being, Pakistan was the country that actually kept on saying that we want peace, we don't want a war. And if somebody is going to, of course, impose war on Pakistan, Pakistan is going to retaliate. And every country has the right to retaliate. Pakistan being a smaller country, and of course India being 6 times bigger country than Pakistan, and its military forces and its its fourth biggest budget in the world militaries. I mean, they have the fourth biggest, largest budget. And did you know Pakistan's number? Pakistan's number is 43rd in the list. And we are not even amongst the top 25 countries of the world that are billions of dollars are being spent on the defense services. We are a country who are humble right now. Reason being, we have given a reply to India that they are going to remember forever. And when it comes to, of course, our positioning right now, our position is very positive. Our diplomatic side, they need to, of course, contact as many countries as it is possible. The government needs to put an effort. Of course, there are teams that are going to, of course, throughout the world, telling them what has happened and why Pakistan exercised its right to retaliate. And it was a warning to India that if they stop waters, of course, if they are going to stop waters, then again Pakistan would be utilizing that right to retaliate, because it's an act of war. Any given day when India approaches towards an act of war against Pakistan, of course, it is going to get a reply from Pakistan. And I think intentions are clear, and I think we have made a mark in terms of how to defend a country in the modern warfare. Of course, all of these things are important. Economy is important as well. The biggest gains are and how we can utilize it. Of course, we have got the diplomatic mileage. We have to positively enhance it further. We have got economic mileage. We have to, of course, attract more and more FDIs in Pakistan. Pakistan has proven that Pakistan is a country that can defend itself to any of the given challenges, be it eastern border or western border. And in this whole scenario, of course, we are very well settled in terms of attracting more and more FDIs, more and more companies. They would be, of course, interested in investing money in Pakistan right now. Not in a country like India, that is a warmongering country that, of course, finds a solution of every problem in a war. Pakistan doesn't do that. India does it, and investors don't like that attitude. When it comes to countries they want to invest in, they don't want that kind of country that actually wages war for no reason. And the way India did it, Pakistan simply exercised the retaliation and told to the world whenever there will be any threat to Pakistan, told to the investors as well, any threat to Pakistan, we will be exercising this retaliation. Why I'm saying that this is the best time to, of course, invest in Pakistan, because Pakistan has proven itself. Pakistan has proven that the whole world that was talking about the new ways of war and 5th generation fighters and 4.5 generation fighters, Pakistan has actually given a display of it. Pakistan has actually exercised it and given to the world to research on it. And that is what is going on right now. The countries and the air forces of the countries and the militaries of the countries, they are actually doing a research on what the kind of deterrence, the aerial deterrence mean, and how Pakistan has maintained this aerial superiority on a country like India, who's having so bigger number of the fighter jets but of no use. Reason being, we have always been saying that there is something called battle integration. They lack that, and Pakistan has always worked on that. And Pakistan has shown to the world how to defend itself, and Pakistan has shown to the world that there is a difference between Pakistan and India, and that difference is that Pakistan is a country of fighters. Pakistan is a country of defenders, and Pakistan has defended itself. Here, one more important thing I wanted to highlight. Earlier, I was listening to Brigadier Harris, and he has rightly pointed out that right now, of course, all of the political parties, they are standing together like a punch. They are like this right now, and we have to further strengthen it, and all of the political parties, whatever the differences are, they have to put it on a side and just come forward to, of course, give that positive feeling, give that positive political feeling in the country where political harmony is there, and that political stability actually would strengthen the economic stability as well, and Pakistan would strengthen itself more and more. Last thing which I wanted to highlight, and that was the first bit of it, and that is related to my first day at PTV back in 2018 when I attended one of the shows, and Sana, you were the anchor.
Really?
And you were covering somebody, and I was called at the last minute because somebody actually called and said, he's not coming. So I was, I was easily available, and they simply said, "Aajao." And I came, and that day, you remember one thing we highlighted, and that was related to hybrid war. And hybrid war, even that day in 2018, we were talking about it, and the whole world was talking about it, hybrid war, hybrid war. This was the actual hybrid war. This was the display of actual hybrid war, where the whole country in terms of narrative building was available to the armed forces, the whole country. That's why we have been seeing the DG ISPR, Lieutenant General Ahmed Sharif, he has highlighted it categorically that the role of the youth, the role of the social media users, and the role of you know, this hybrid domain, in which alongside your Air Force having top-notch you know, exercise over India, alongside our military, alongside our naval forces, our political domain, and when we talk about the diplomatic domain, that was there. And when we talk about the journalists, they were up there. I mean, me, you, Farrukh, we were here. We were doing the special transmissions. We were appearing again and again on the TV. I was appearing on the international screens, on you name it, and I was there. Why? Because I knew this is the hybrid war. And we, me and you, when we were talking about it almost you know, 8 years ago, 7-8 years ago, at that time we had no experience of it, but now we have experience of it, and we have the right, every right to, of course, talk about it now. This was the hybrid war, and we have won it, and Pakistan is there where a month ago we wouldn't have thought of. Why? Because India wanted us to be there.
Right, absolutely. And Farrukh, while we are there and while we have that edge that Faisal is referring to, what is the most advantageous ways that we can actually leverage this current position? What should be our approach? How should we really go for the things that Pakistan needs to put forward? We keep talking about different issues and saying that Pakistan needs to have a better geopolitical stance or a better standing. It seems we have that now. And so how do we actually utilize that, and what should be our asks?
Thank you very much, Sana. I think that it is a very, very good question, because every time the three moments that I showed you where Pakistan seems to have changed the course of history, Pakistan was really in bad position to sustain its gains. We changed the dynamics. India capitalized on that. But suddenly, for the first time, that enemy is in a doghouse. So we can do a lot of this and benefit a lot, and I'm going to come to that. Before that, I just wanted to point out what Faisal was just telling us. While praising others, he ended up praising himself. Yeah. So he was saying, "Unko field marshal bana rahi, mujhe general to bana de." Right? But the point is that you know, I call them Lashkar-e-Noida, India's media. Sadly, it tells you something about India's society under BJP's rule, that they haven't been able to find a way to fix that problem. The same anchors, the same bad actors are still sitting on screen and still compounding the venom that comes from their screen. True. Let me remind everybody what was possible, and it was literally like taking a candy from a child. In view of what Indian media was doing as far as the narrative goes. Why? They were so impulsive and so hormonal that they couldn't actually take care of the narrative, whatever narrative they were building. They were just showing hate, they were showing contempt for Pakistan, and then they expected the world to actually line up behind them, right? That never happened. All we had to do was point at them and shrug. Just let me remind one anchor. You remember that iconic, you know, clip in which it is being reported that Indian army, Indian ground forces have entered into Pakistan, and then this major goes like this. And then the anchor says, "Ye hai parakaram ka pradarshan," right? The projection of power, right? dear friend, this is Parakaram ka Pardarshan, as we are showing you right now, right? The point is that it was very easy because they were so noisy and stupid. We were able to tell the world what exactly is happening, how exactly unfair this is. And they were just there as a promotional or as an advertisement of what we were saying. At this moment, I am told that while Indian delegations are going abroad, they are buying lobbyists or hiring lobbyists like hell. And I understand, I've worked with lobbying also, so I know how that works. Moral compass is not a part of it. But here's something that I'm going to say to every lobbyist in the world, that if you have to sell your soul to these guys, at least get your pound of flesh.
Make a fortune.
Not merely a fortune. Actually, get a pound of flesh, because the other side is also weakened, so that we can thank you also. And with that, of course, we have to remember investment is good. Pakistan is already taking off in the right direction. Remember that there were own scores on our side also. For example, one anchor, one podcaster anchor actually spoke about Indian actresses yesterday or day before yesterday, and it was obnoxious. I will condemn it. I think that as a father of two girls, I believe that we should be giving every woman respect that is there and that should be there, right? Similarly, there was this report by one reporter regarding IMF actually slapping Pakistan. Look at the words. Slapping Pakistan with 11 new conditions. But rather, I've been, and you have been also reporting on this, and we have been in the loop enough to know that all these conditions were part of discussions before this whole episode started. So Indian media, what does it do? It immediately takes it and shows that, look, we are actually manipulating IMF to get whatever we want from Pakistan. What the kind of damage they have done in the international media elsewhere shows. Sana, all we need to do is keep on focusing on the prize. We kept on telling everybody that India is doing something wrong. We have actually pointed that out. All we need to do, and by the way, one thing, we keep on praising our military leadership, media elsewhere. Prime Minister, Information Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, all should be complimented, saluted, and opposition parties also, because everyone, as Faisal pointed out, stood together.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Farrukh and Faisal, for joining us as always. And of course, this is a moment that of course, we rejoice, and we hope that it continues for the betterment of the country, and that we're able to move forward with the same united stance. That's all that we have from the debate. We'll now see you tomorrow.